Good morning! It is the first day of my annual Bibliothon, and I'm checking in for the first time a little after 9 o'clock. I've already gotten ready for the day. I met my dad downtown for breakfast. We meet at the diner on Saturdays, and now I'm in a different location. This is our hometown public library, and I volunteer here every Saturday that I'm available and in town, and it's just an easy way to give back to my hometown community and use the skills that I have as a librarian, but also my love for books and just connecting with my hometown. And I will be here for a few hours, and while it's quiet, I will get to do some reading, so that's always exciting. A little extra built-in time that I don't have to schedule, I guess. So I actually have already done some reading from the Biannual Bibliothon challenges. At 12:30 this morning, I could not sleep, so I started in on my first book, and that is Jodi Picoult's Second Glance. I'm only on page 17, so I don't have a lot to report on the plot, but there's a lot more alternating perspectives quickly than I anticipated. I thought it was like an every chapter type thing, but it's in the middle of a chapter and it's multiple characters, so I'm having a hard time following it, but I hope that I can break into it a little bit more as the day continues. And then I also listened to Thunderhead on audiobook as I was getting ready. And once again, I'm only on page 19, so I don't have a lot to report plot-wise, but I love the narration, and I love the first book, so I'm excited to see what this one has to offer us. And while I'm here at the library today, I am going to dig into Neon Soul. It's a book of poetry about self-love and healing, and I'm so excited about this. They're extremely short poems, so the first time I think I'm going to just read it all the way through, and the second time, and however many times afterwards, I'm going to annotate and make my connections and thoughts within the pages. So I'm excited about this one. I've never really read a poetry anthology, so this will be new for me, but I can tell I'm already going to love it. And the other book I'm going to read while I'm here is Beneath the Sugar Sky, and I'm so excited for this third installment in the Wayward Children series. I didn't even know what this one was about until I just read the jacket cover, and it seems a little weirder than the others, but the others were great, and it's not normally my kind of book that I read, so I'm excited to see how this works, and it's less than 200 pages, so it'll be a quick read. So I'm gonna get started on reading, but before I do that, I thought I would take you on a quick tour of our small town library because it's the cutest library ever. So the first thing you need to know is we still use the old school cards and stamps in our books. So of course we have like a sitting area and computers. A lot of gamers, kids come in and use this area, but then we have our shelves. Nice sitting area, new release shelves, coffee. As a kid, this was the size of our library. This was it. This side only, but when the next door antique glider rocker store closed, we opened this wall up and we added more computers, a play area for kids, and our children's section is right here. In the very back, that's young adult, and it goes into those shelves. There's a couch back there in the corner you can't see. We also have movies, and yeah, it's just a super cute small town library. And I am super proud to call this part of my home. It is now noon and I'm about ready to head out and lock the library up, but before I do that, I thought I would kind of check in with what I got read. I read the whole collection of Neon Soul. So good. Yeah, it just leaves me speechless, I guess. It was just great. A lot of self-care, about being a woman, about relationships, about grief, about loss, about healing, which are all things that speak heavily to me, and so I'll talk more about this in the wrap-up, as well as maybe share a few of my favorites, but I promise they're short, so don't worry on that one. And of course, I got through the first part of Beneath the Sugar Sky, and I'm not sure what I think of this quite yet. There's a lot of quirkiness, some humor that wasn't in previous books, and just the premise of it, so I'm not giving anything away because it's in the book jacket, but basically a girl drops from the sky and she's looking for her mother who died before the girl was born. And I'm not quite sure how that works. It hasn't been explained at all, and I'm not sure if it's going to be explained. If it's just part of the fantasy realm, we'll see. I'm going to be interested, of course, to hear what other people are thinking about this book, but hopefully I can finish the rest of this today. I'm on page like 40 something, but yeah, I'll check in later. Have a good day. Hey guys, it is the night of day 2 of the Biannual Bibliothon. So yes, I did not film any more footage yesterday of day 1 after you saw me in the morning because my parents helped me clean out my garage, We went into town to get a bite to eat, and then after that, since we were already in town, we did some grocery shopping before heading back to our supper houses. And then today, we had lunch with my brother, as well as I got my first color and cut since having chemo, and it feels great. A little piece of normal back. I got rid of my baby mullet, and I'm super thankful for my 2 coworkers that work through magic. So getting back to the books. Beneath the Sugar Sky, I got to page 124 yesterday, so I have 50 pages left. Hopefully I'm going to finish this right now, get it done. I'm not really feeling it that much, which really shocks me. I feel like it's maybe not dark and twisty enough compared to the other ones, which is weird to say out loud. But I guess there is like a walking skeleton, but compared to the other 2, it's pretty tame so far. But 50 pages with this author is still a lot left, so that could change. So hopefully I can report differently when I come back to see you next. And then yesterday, I think I shared that I'm on like page 17 of Thunderhead through audiobook, but today I've done a whole bunch of other stuff. I made breakfast, I listened to it while I was in the shower, I listened to it while I was getting ready, while I was driving, while I was walking the dog. So I've made 100 pages, more of a dent in this one, and I am definitely enjoying it. So I'm going to continue on with this one, of course. And then hopefully, when I finish this tonight, I'm going to jump back into Second Glance. So I'll check back in later. So finishing the last 50 pages of this book took far too long. It took me like 2 hours. I was just connecting also with some of my breast cancer friends that have some new changes in their life. One was my mentor, another going through a double mastectomy a few days ago, another going through chemo for the first time. So it was good to connect with them, even though I was trying to finish a book, which I gave it a 3. Spoiler for the wrap up, but I gave it a 3. I'll explain it more later. So this is gonna go in my cabinet here for finished reads of the month. And moving on, I'm gonna go get ready for bed. It's like 9:30, but it's also a work night. So get ready for bed and then start in on Second Glance and see how far I can get. So hopefully if I don't fall asleep, I'll check in a little later. It is now night 3 of the Biannual Bibliothon already, and I am up to chapter 18 in Thunderhead on audiobook, which is page 178. Still enjoying it, like I've said previously. Oh, there's the dog going to find his spot. But I think I am going to up the speed of the audio so I can actually make sure I get through this before the end of the readathon. And then of course, I'm still working on this. This is proving to be a much slower read than I remember. I'm on page like 66 and it's much more heavy on the paranormal ghost side, as well as a lot of changing in point of views, which I said before. So hopefully I'll be able to check back in later with some good news on my reading updates, but we shall see. It kind of depends on how much attention this guy thinks he needs all night. Anybody else's house get taken over by dogs when they get him? Like, this is his dog food for a month, and then like his chews to keep him busy so he doesn't eat my furniture. But he's still gonna make a disaster all over it, so why do I even try? Don't you? It is bedtime of night 4 of the readathon, and so it's like 10:30. And I thought it was a very unsuccessful day at first because I read nothing out of this today. So that's a bust. So I started reading my book that's like inside of another book, and that would be Wait Till Helen Comes, and I got to page 56 of this, so got a little bit done. But then I checked how much of my audiobook that I listened to, and I added 100 more pages to Thunderhead, so I'm over the halfway mark, which is awesome. I feel successful. So I'll power through more of this tomorrow. I do want to get back into my audiobook of The Diviners. I was halfway through when the readathon started, and since it wasn't part of my list for the challenges, I kind of abandoned it, and I really want to get back into it. So I need to get this one done so I can move back into that one. So hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. I will try to update in the morning, and hopefully I can get some reading time in then. And yeah, I gotta do better at this vlogging thing, but oh well, it is what it is when you gotta work and teach and yeah, life. See you guys tomorrow. It is already night 5. It's about 9:30 and progress is actually being made, which I'm excited to report. I just finished Wait Till Helen Comes, and it was really slow for the first like 3/4, and then it picked up, which I was thankful for because this is one of my favorite authors as a child. So I will talk more about that and why I gave it a 4 instead of a 3 by the end of the story in my wrap up. So it, of course, is going back here in my monthly pile of finished books. And then moving on to other things that got finished today would be 70 more pages of Thunderhead. Almost done. There's about 4 hours left on the audiobook. I don't know if I can get it done tomorrow, but I'll definitely get it done by the end of the readathon. So I may speed it up a little bit more tomorrow to try to get it finished. And then tonight, I'm taking back into this bad boy. I'm still on page 90. So I'm gonna get ready for bed, get like comfy, cozy, start reading and see how much I can get done. I fell asleep on the couch a little earlier, so I had a nap, so maybe I can stay up a little later and read tonight, but I will check in later, hopefully. We shall see. And P.S. The plot twist in this is insane. If you have read this, let me know your thoughts. You have to know what I'm talking about. It's nuts. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It is the afternoon of day 6 and it's about 4:30 or so. And I'm just checking in. I made like an hour and a half progress already in the audiobook, so I have 2.5 hours left. I think I can do it. The dog and I are outside playing soccer, so I'm gonna play it while we're doing that, even though it's super windy. But here in a couple hours, we have our first book club meeting through the public library. I started that with the library board, so I'm super excited. We have some cookies that we had made that are super duper cute, and I will definitely share those with you in a little bit. Alright, we are at 5:30 and I'm reading some more of Second Glance, about like 130 pages in now, and I'm finally getting to part 2 where the eugenics are. So it's going back in time to 1932, and I'm pumped because that's the whole reason I wanted to read this and I've waited this long. But also, it is nice enough to have the door open. It's January in Kansas. Where's the cold weather? I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying this is strange. It's like, it feels like October. Anybody else feel that way? I don't know. Before I get into the wrap-up of the books that I read during the readathon, I do want to share 2 other things that happened in the last couple days of the readathon I didn't get to vlog about. And the first one was, of course, the book club that you saw the cookies for. Aren't those so cute? A lady from my hometown, she made them, and I'll put her information down below, I guess. If you are from my area, you can check her out. The book club itself was so much fun. There were 8 of us from my town, which is only like 1,300 people, and it was anybody from their 20s to their 80s, and we had a great time. The first half an hour we just spent getting to know each other, and then we talked about the book, which was What Was Mine, and we had a great time talking about this one for like 20-25 minutes. And I'll share more about this book in my wrap-up for the month. But then we also selected our book from next month, and it was so great. We are so excited to continue this throughout the year. So that was a lot of fun. And the last thing on Friday was for my district, the librarians, which I'm part of that team since I'm one of the district librarians, obviously. But we started a new fundraiser called Read for a Cause. You can kind of see my shirt. Our Crusaders shield was substituted with a book, so we love that. Little Reading Crusader is what we call him. But basically, Read for a Cause is a new event we started where we have a readathon, and the kids can get pledges for participating in the readathon, and those pledges go towards a cause. And this year, it's for the Reno County Cancer Council, and so all of our money goes to help patients in our county with some costs that aren't covered by medical insurance, basically. So like for me, they help me with wigs and bills for housing. They help me with transportation since my doctor was like, all four of my doctors were an hour away. All my pharmaceuticals, those kind of things, and so they help out a lot. And so we were pleased to raise over $3,000 to give to them, which basically supports almost one patient for the entire year. So we are excited to do that, and we can't wait to see what we decide to support next year, because it's going to change every year. So we did local this year, next it'll be like national, and the year after will be international, unless something comes up that's more pressing. Anyways, let's get into the books that I read and do a quick wrap-up of the books that I read for the Biannual Bibliothon. We're going to start with the books that I did not read or did not finish, and the first one I did not read, unfortunately, was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I just didn't have time for this. I'm hoping I can get to it this week because the live show with Emma Books is this weekend. I don't know, it's not looking too promising, but I still want to read it so I can understand why everybody raves about this author and this series. The other book I did not finish was the group book called Otherworld, which I kind of knew ahead of time because the sci-fi realm wasn't really my thing, but I will list it down below in case you want to check it out on Amazon or Goodreads or whatever to see what it's about and see if you like it for yourself. The other one I didn't finish was Second Glance by Jodi Picoult. This is a reread for me for my month of January, and I'm about almost halfway, I guess. It's just a lengthier read. I need more time than the week to get this done. So I will be continuing to read this because I am liking it. It's getting into the eugenics, like I said in some of my previous videos. And so you might see this probably in my February wrap-up. So the first book that I did finish was Neon Soul. It's by Alexandra L. And I absolutely adored this. I gave it 5 stars. Because this poetry is kind of hard to judge any less because it's somebody's personal body of work. And especially about this one, is self-healing and love and care and survivorship. There was just so many things that hit home with me. I haven't had time to pick out my 3 favorites, so I may do that in my wrap-up for the end of the month. But definitely check her out. I'm going to go probably purchase her other book that she has published right away so I can read some more of hers. The second book that I finished was Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shauna McGuire. I wanted to love this one so much because I was kind of in the movement towards the first one was great, the second one was better, and I was hoping this was even better, but this kind of took a step back for me. It was almost like a Candyland with a little bit of spice, and I just like the second book better, I guess. But I'm definitely going to give any other ones a shot. I like that there is a different set of characters every time, and I'm interested to hear what everybody else thinks about this. The next one I finished was a quick one, Wait Till Helen Comes by Mary Downing Hahn. This is one of the first books I can remember reading, chapter book-wise. It stuck with me as a kid. It's a ghost story. I would say I was going to give this book a 3 because it was dragging so hard, but I wanted to give it 3 for nostalgia, just from stepping back into that time when I was in 4th grade reading this for the first time. But then the last fourth of it really picked up, and it was really spooky and scary, and so I ended up giving it a 4. So if you could push through the first third, which it's a middle grade novel, so it's a quick read, definitely the last fourth is very scary, very spooky, and so I'll be recommending this to kids at school with just the precursor of it's kind of slow to start with, but just give it a chance. And the last one that I finished was Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. I finished this via audiobook because the narrator is great, and I love that experience with Sky, like I said before. This one was almost as good as the first book, but not quite. There was a part towards the end that I didn't really like how it's hard to say because I don't want to give it away. So I didn't like the method of how they were going about getting after the Skies, I guess. I did like the ending. The ending really makes me excited that there was going to be another book. But what happened before then, with what they chose to be their weapon, I'm not a fan of. Does that make sense? If you leave a comment down below, make sure you put spoilers, but I'm interested if anybody else had the problem with the book like I did. Just seemed a little, far-fetched, too weird, which is, if that's a thing, if it's a dystopia, I don't even know. But I didn't really like that part, so that's what gave it the 4.5 out of 5. But other than that, it's a great book. It is lengthier, but it's awesome. It is an awesome dystopia, I'll give it that. So I basically read 4.5 out of 7 of the books for my TBR list for the Biannual Bibliothon. I'm not going to complain about that. I think it was actually pretty great. I enjoyed the reads that I read. I noticed that they were all like paranormal, sci-fi, fantasy, which is not my normal picks. So it's kind of weird to me that I picked all of those, but I enjoyed it. It'll definitely be different than my contemporary-thon that's coming up. Completely the opposite, actually. But it was a lot of fun. So I would love to connect with you down below about what you read for your readathon, and if you've read any of the books that I read for this one, as well as if you're going to be competing, or what is the word? Completing? Participating. That was a came my brain moment. You're welcome. Participating in any readathons coming up. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys. Hey guys, it's Audra and welcome back to my channel. We're just going to hop right into the vlogging for the Biannual Bibliothon. So before you leave, make sure you hit like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you at the end.